The following podcast contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion advised.
And although we joke, if you or someone you know is affected by or a victim of domestic violence, dial 1-800-799-7233 or visit the National Domestic Violence Hotline's website, thehotline.org.
But it's always the husband, it's always the husband, it's always the husband. I don't keep bed.
Hi, everybody. It's Sarah.
Hi, this is Megan.
And you're listening to It's Always the Husband podcast.
Welcome.
Thanks again for joining in.
Sarah does 900 podcasts every week now. And then my husband turned 44. So we had to reschedule our taping just a day. My husband gets violently angry when his birthday is not acknowledged properly.
Right. He kicks right through the wall. And then every year he gets his legs stuck in the wall. The fire department has to come out. And it's embarrassing.
I stare at the firefighters as they loosen him from the sheetrock.
Right. You spill stuff on their shirt, so they have to take them off.
Oops.
Yeah.
Luckily, we had
this
a proper
year,
celebration.
Yeah, this year it worked out great.
Did I tell the story about why? How that came about the year that I bought a cake. He only likes angel food cake. With
yes, right. He loves that.
With like confetti. Yeah. So you have to get the confetti kind. It has to be angel food. And then he has to have like a thick frosting on it, which doesn't make sense. I feel like I've told this story before, but one year I bought a cake, like a cake mix box and a card, and I put it on the like the doorknob of my pantry, and I just didn't have time to make it. It was like during the week, and I just was like, well, fuck. And then this is bad. I didn't even sign the card. Like I was just like, whatever. It's his birthday.
Yeah. I mean,
it's fine. I'll say happy birthday to him. But he was like so mad and sad that I didn't make him a cake. And then I didn't think about it enough. And so I had to vow never to let that happen again.
Oh, I get a breeze by heaven.
And then
that's what I get. Yeah. And then that's what I get. Yeah. And there it is.
I know. I'm not a gift. What do you call that? Love language gift.
Yeah.
Getter either. Like I don't care about getting gifts. So I just think that everyone doesn't care, but some people do. And my husband would be one. Maybe it's not so much gifts as a cake, but I didn't get him a cake, and that was devastating for him one year.
My.
All right,
well,
so I made him a my mom made a cake this year because she was like, I have Rory, I'll just make him a cake. I was like, all right.
Good.
I'm the worst wife ever.
No, you're
but I'm
just
the best in so many other ways.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
do you have a glitter in your shitter that got you through this otherwise weird ass week?
I don't know if this is a glitter. It might actually be the shit in the shitter.
Oh, it might be the diarrhea.
It might be the diarrhea in my shitter this week. But
interesting.
I stupidly signed up to jump in a freaking
cold
lake
that
on
shit job
Saturday. So Saturday, I am going to jump in Prior Lake.
This time, wear like clothes or something. Naked isn't the way to go again.
I didn't know. I thought everybody else was going to be naked. Fine. I'm jumping this year. Obviously, it's always for the Special Olympics, but this year, our school has the deodorant factory that we work in has this great initiative called the Unified Program. And so it pairs kids together in classes, kids who are serviced by special ed, and they get paired with friends and buddies and classmates, and they can have FIED together. They can have FACS together, so they learn how to cook together. They do lots of fun party events, and I just think it's the best. So I'm raising money for that, and I'm going to jump in the lake.
Yeah, but good for you.
Thanks.
It's actually a super good program.
It is. I love it. So I'm excited to raise money. So I did, I put it on our page, but I only have like 2 more days to collect. So any amount is appreciated, or just give me some warm vibes because it's freaking 0 degrees right now.
Yeah.
It's getting colder.
Tomorrow I have to go skiing and it's going to be -30.
Are you really going to go?
Well, someone has to be out there with those fucking idiots.
No, but I mean, won't they just call it off and say like
no,
-30?
no, they're not going to do that shit.
Cold.
No.
I'm so sorry.
I know. Ew.
Deodorant factory.
I know.
Why? Okay, what's your glitter?
Well, now I feel bad because yours is for like a charity and mine is for myself. Because I have the app. Well, what's Digit now? What is it? Fuck it, or it's
it's Opportune.
Opportune. Oh,
yeah.
I saved on that. And I bought myself a Dyson Airwrap.
You did?
They're $9,000. But I got the Airwrap ID, the brand new ones. So it has a little pointier cone that you get tighter curls. And it has a bigger heated round brush.
How does it work?
It's just like a hair dryer with these attachments that curls your hair as it dries your hair.
Do you feel like it's worth the money?
Yes. And I mean, I watched 1,000 TikToks, and some people say like, oh, my curls were out in 10 minutes. And that's what I was afraid would happen. But you get like a blowout look hair.
Yeah.
And
a blowout look hair?
A blowout look hair. I did it. My curls lasted until I washed my hair, like 3 days.
Wow.
So in mine, it lasted. I guess it depends on the type of hair, but you can buy an Airwrap for curly hair. If you have curly hair, you can buy an Airwrap if you have straight hair. So they have different designs for type of hair too. So mine worked perfect. And then I had the hair dry stuff that dried my hair in 3 minutes.
No.
Normally it takes forever to dry my hair with like my hair dryer, or even that Revlon one I have.
I'm going to come over and try it sometime.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's
not that I'll ever be able to save $900 to get one.
Well, I mean, it was $5.99, which is ridiculous. But I mean, I saved for 2 years on Opportune.
I'm proud of you.
And it was super easy to learn, actually. But then I'd watched 500 TikToks and seen every single do this, do this, do this, do this, use this with it, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, the first time I used it, it worked perfectly. And then my hair, like, it literally just stayed until I washed it. The curls did.
Wow.
So, I mean, it works. For me, it worked great.
Yeah.
And there's tons of stuff you can do.
I'm due for a wash, but but it takes so long for me to dry my hair that I just hate it
so fast.
Yeah. So I really put it off until it gets real greasy and disgusting. And then I think, who cares? I just wear sweatpants and look greasy every day anyway.
And it hooks to your phone. So
what?
Then, which is a pain. You have to use your phone out. And I thought, I don't know if I'll like that. But then the setting it takes you actually set it to where you get the curl you want. And then your phone will remember that. And so then you just you just push a button on it and it just does the curl itself. And then when it's done, you just set up the hair again, push the button. It does the whole curl thing and cool shot and curl itself. And then and so you can just go through your hair and just super fast.
None of this is making sense to me. I'm going to need to see it in action.
Yeah. So, I mean,
maybe we can do it on Patreon this weekend where after I jump in the lake, I can come over and use your Dyson.
Yeah. The new version is like, the tech on it, it's way easier. Wow. You have less buttons to push. Okay. I don't know if that means anything to people. So it's...
Wow, that's a good glitter.
Yeah. We also have a new Patreon named Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Debbie, thank you. And you can listen to our newest episode we put out this week.
Yeah, we did. It was a doozy.
It was a doozy.
Some psychos. What about, we have a Facebook group if you're just listening to this for the first time. Hi. You can go to Facebook and then search up It's Always the Husband podcast group, and ask to come in, and we'll let you in. And then you'll see disgusting posts made by terrible whores.
Yeah.
And
this whore,
it will
that was my
completely
favorite.
change your algorithm forever.
Yeah, it will. I'm sorry, it will. And it's horrible, but that's a chance you take.
Yep.
Life is risks.
It is.
And it makes you feel alive.
Yep.
This whore, Shannon Jensen, wrote one that I laughed and laughed. So it's a husband like putting his, like doing the thinker pose, but more in frustration.
Yeah.
And it says, I asked my wife if I was the only one she'd been with. She said yes. All the others had been 9s and 10s. And I laughed and laughed because he's a 1. And I thought that is a good reply if a man asks you that.
I love Dawn Engelbart. She had a cute little hedgehog, and it said,
that
Mrs.
one was
Hedgehog
so
was more prickly than usual today, and she was just about ready to headbutt some cunts.
Yes.
I love it. I want it like in a frame.
It is perfect to be framed because it was a cute little picture.
But yet so inappropriate.
I know.
Thanks, Dawn. You know we love the C word around here.
We do.
Oh my God. Was it you who
it was
found
me
the
who found that
shirt?
Walmart recycle. It said recycle, reuse, renew, and rethink. And that if you look at the words after it's spelled cunt on the way down.
And of course, my sister-in-law Beth bought 2.
Yeah, I bought one too.
You did?
But
oh my God,
I bought a
wait.
cheap-ass mistake one that said rething instead of rethink. So it's even worse.
What?
So it's rething and it said cunt, rething.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to wear it everywhere.
Okay, I can't wait. And Betty, when you get yours, if you're listening, take a picture and post it in the group too. I got to see them.
All right. So we are getting into our mystery.
Yeah.
And we just watch shows and tell this mystery through the show and then make fun of the show.
Yeah, there was a shirtless wonder on this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. This one, yes.
It's a good Texas story.
It was.
Yeah.
Texas really came through on this one. We watched Scorned, Love Kills.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Scorned where they tell the stories of the women who go nuts. And that's a good as a podcast too. Because Scorned is usually stories of women who kill people, usually men in their life who have scorned them. But it's more just women who've killed anyone. That Scorned show.
Yeah.
And it's a podcast too. They put the show as a podcast.
Yeah.
And so I really like it. So this is a different show. Scorned Love Kills. So it's a different Scorned
same
side,
name, but
I mean,
different show.
Scorned with a. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Like when a show has a spin-off. God, that's what I'm trying to say. So it's season 1, episode 15, called Sneaking Suspicion. And that's a dumb name with this episode. It doesn't match.
Doesn't match.
All right, so we're going to 1986 to Texas. Katy, Texas.
This is a famous town known for its football.
Yeah,
high school
it's
football.
Friday Night Lights, dumbass football.
I fucking hate
high school
sports.
football. And most of the story is told by this lady named Catherine Casey. And I thought she did a good job telling the story. She's an author who probably did a true crime book on this.
Is that the short-haired lady? Yep, I liked her
and
too.
she explained things well and just really cut through the shit and said it.
Yeah.
So she said that Katy, Texas, again, football control. She said football controls the city. It's all they really gave a shit about, which is probably why this guy ended up being a fucking insane weirdo.
I can't wait. My teaching partner, Johnny T, shout out Johnny, lived in Katy and coached there for a while.
Good, great.
And yeah, so I want to ask it. I can't wait to see him
wonder if he
tomorrow.
knew this dick.
I can't. I don't know. I mean, he was there quite a bit later, but I'm sure it's like lore, right? In the school,
had to be.
Yeah.
So this guy named David Temple. So he was a star linebacker, and he also led the team to a championship. So he had to be like a god among the town, and he was a local celebrity.
So dumb.
And if you're in high school and you end up being like getting all that attention, not only your, people who are just popular in high school, it ends up going to their head for their whole life.
Right?
And you end up being a dick ass your whole life.
And lose your hair and are an ugly fucker.
Where you still think you're 18 and cool and you hang out at the same bar you tried to sneak into in high school and you never move on.
No.
And so this guy must have totally been stunted at this age where he's a celebrity in the whole town.
Yeah.
And then we see Stacy, who's a friend of Belinda. We're going to meet soon.
Yes.
And Stacy explains that David, the star linebacker, the local celebrity, he was aggressive on the field, but then she said he's very aggressive off the field. And all this celebrity nonsense went right to his head.
And she went to high school with him or something, didn't she? So she has known him
She's
for a long
known
time.
him. And so she kind of made a face, like a grimace face when she would talk about him. So she made him sound like a real poop shoot McGee.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this show did a good job with casting. They casted really well with attractive people.
Yeah.
So the actors were good looking, although they made the Belinda very, very blonde. And I didn't think Belinda, I thought she was a brunette.
No.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So David Temple, which makes sense, got a full scholarship. But he gets a scholarship to like the Steve Urkel University. I don't even know. I've never heard of this place. So he couldn't have been that good.
No.
To Stephen F. Austin University? Like, where the fuck is that? I mean, I guess I don't know where Texas is. Nutbar went to school in Texas, and she won't even know where that shit is.
Is it in Austin?
I guess. I don't know. It's at Stephen F. Austin University? Maybe.
SFA.
I mean, and so he gets a scholarship there. So he couldn't have been anywhere good. He didn't get a scholarship to any football school. Did you find?
I mean, I'm looking it up right now.
No, it doesn't even come up. I mean, it might as well have been Steve Urkel University. No one knows where this is.
Steven, it's in Nacogdoches, Texas.
Nacogdoches? Where is that a town?
Yeah.
So he's going to Steve Urkel University, they said girls are flocking to him. I don't know.
Yikes.
But he only has eyes for Belinda, and they describe Belinda as this cute, smart, funny, happy blondie. And then they show a picture of her, and she's clearly a brunette.
Yeah.
So I was like, do you have the right, what? Huh?
I don't know.
And she is a cute brunette, but she's
cute.
Then the Belinda on the show is like a platinum blonde.
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect.
They didn't try.
No. So we're in the fall 1990. Belinda and David are at college.
I guess it says they are NCAA Division I.
Oh, they are?
I guess.
Well, Christ. Steve Urkel University is got there eventually.
And Don Henley also is an alumni.
Oh. Well.
He is a musician,
yes.
not an athlete.
No.
I don't know. I've never heard of it. Whatever.
So Dave and Belinda are dating for 11 months before David romantically decides to propose to her on the football field where he finds success. That's not romantic for her.
No.
Come on this football field where everyone's taking a shit and a piss, and come here where I'm successful.
1,000 loogies.
Yeah. And everyone has their tobacco and beer spilled here, and I'll propose to you. And she says yes. And they said David was very romantic at the time with love notes and roses, and they were called the golden couple. But still, I don't know if I want to get...
It must have been a very small school.
Engaged on a stank football field.
Yeah, I don't know. They were like...
But what do I know, you know?
I
don't care.
Some dumb bitch. I don't know.
Yeah. But Belinda really wanted to just be a wife and mother. That was going to make her happy. And so she was very, very excited for this. They got married in late 1992, and they showed a photo, and they both look cute, totally cute. And she looks very happy. And he looks super happy. And it's a super cute photo, adorable. And so for a few years later, they're doing really well. David, of course, gets a job teaching at a local high school, and he only becomes the assistant football coach.
You can't start head coach right away. In Texas, you got to work your way up.
I guess. And Belinda gets a teaching job at David's old high school in Katy, Texas.
Yes.
Belinda's very well liked, and I'm assuming she taught math because the Belinda in the show kept pointing to a triangle.
She did.
So I'm guessing it was math.
Yeah.
Or health or something, and it was a poorly drawn vagina. Or peni. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then they go into the spiel about one of Belinda's students, about his name is Mark, and he's a troubled teen. Mark lives next door to David and Belinda. And Mark is not going to school. He's a truant son of a bitch.
He won't wake up.
So Belinda goes next door and talks to those low-down, dirty parents and says, your fucking kid isn't coming to school. Do you want him to have an education, or do you want him to live in a gutter? And the parents go, and so they say, Belinda tries to go the extra mile and help Mark and give him some extra support. That's not going to the extra mile. It's being a teacher, because that's what every teacher does. Break their fucking goddamn back for every fucking kid. Well, every parent goes, not every parent. Obviously, there's very wonderful parents.
There are.
There are some, like Mark's parents, though, that don't care about the child.
Yeah.
And so Belinda tries to step in and offer him that support. Well, that's what teachers do. We're not in it for the cash.
That's for sure.
So she was obviously trying to, care for this kid who lived next to her. She was a very caring person. But she wanted her own children. And so in 1995...
She didn't want the neighbor's
no, she didn't want this
fuck up.
Mark, this, already fucked up kid. She wants to fuck up her own kids. Like everybody else. So in 1995, they have a son, and they're very loving parents, both of them there, and they're still very happy. But the next few months, David starts to change because he doesn't want no lard-ass wife. And he's upset that a couple months after giving birth, Belinda still has some sort of a paunch. David, you fucking asshole. She had to grow a person in her body, and do you think she's going to come out of the hospital with a flat stomach and watching an infant?
David clearly did.
He doesn't understand any kind of
is a dick
woman's body.
No.
So David got very upset with her and would often tell her that if she doesn't look good, he doesn't look good, because she is just an extension of his appearance.
Shame on her.
Shame on her for being a fat ass right after giving birth.
And he would say it in front of other people, not just to her. Like, they'd be at her friend's house, and he would be like, well, this fatty over here has got to get it together. I don't look good when she looks. And her friends were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, oh my God, she just had a baby. Are you insane? Like, what are you talking about? The dumbest thing you can ever say to a woman who just had a baby. What an absolute piece of shit.
Right.
And then to say for your wife, you're just really eye candy.
Yeah.
Well, do men not realize that they are blind candy? They cause blindness half the time. These ugly men who somehow get beautiful, kind women to marry them, and then they're still absolute dicks.
I know.
What world do we live in where this opposite day is every day?
I'm beginning to wonder.
Like, do you not have a mirror? Oh, but Belinda loved him. She's very happily in love. And so she decided to try to work on it. I mean, God, your self-esteem would just, I feel for her because that would be devastating and very hard on your ego and mind and body, and your self-esteem would be in the toilet, and then you're confused. This person's supposed to love me. How do I love myself if he doesn't and I love him? I don't know. You're in a tumble tour.
And
then you have baby feelings.
And also I'm going to have to go back to work soon because I only get 6 weeks of sick leave to use to have this baby.
Exactly. Because I don't actually get time unless I've gathered up sick days and gone to work with carbuncle and saved my sick days.
Right.
But David is falling out of love with Belinda. One, because, she's fat ass 1 hour after having a baby. So he decides to spend hours away from home, going to the strip bars, having his boner around the other guys.
Now, what I found surprising here, Sarah, and you can tell me if this surprised you too, was that there was a group of football coaches that hung out together a lot and were total dicks and went drinking every night and went to happy hours and went to strip clubs together. And I'd never heard of such a phenomenon, of such a thing. It was almost like it was a good old boys club that he was a part of. And I just thought, I would have never thought that as a football coach, he would have hung out at strip clubs with the other football coaches.
And then it said they also were picking up skanks.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of that either.
Me neither.
And what kind of with a huge boner, drunk as hell, picking up skanks. Where's the appeal?
I don't know.
Why you have a wife at home with a baby?
Yeah.
Who is hopping up on that dick? Blind skank?
Blind. Yeah. Yeah.
That maybe just came out of the insane asylum?
In Texas, it's maybe there's in a southern hemisphere. Is there something with the eclipse?
Maybe,
that's stronger. Maybe.
Very much stronger, I would say.
Okay.
So that's what he's doing instead of being at home with his beautiful wife and his new baby. This is a dick. So, but he lies to Belinda and he says, "Oh, the Friday game went longer and we had a meeting afterward." What?
There's no such things.
No one does that.
No.
And besides being a dick and going to the strip club, he's picking up skanks and he's cheating on her. And with all these, they show him in the reenactments with all these hideous women at the bar scene, just mingling with all of them.
Flirting.
Yes.
With his stupid fat ass jaw.
And then all his coworkers are there watching. Do you have no shame?
Again, it was very odd. I had never known anything where men cover for other men when they're out.
I mean, I don't
cavorting.
I don't go to work, baby shower at a restaurant, and then go give a strange man a hand job in front of my coworkers.
No, and all of us would be like, "Oh my God, did you see Sarah giving a handy?"
I mean,
let's go tell Jamie immediately.
Do
yeah. It's so gross.
Can you imagine all the English teachers getting together at a coffee shop and then one of them getting up and just giving a blowy to an old man in the corner?
Everyone's just like, oh.
And they just ignore it or laugh it off and say, that's old Mrs. Cartwright.
Girls will be girls is what we
And that's just what men do all the time. Oh my God. Just what is wrong with them? Jesus H. So Belinda starts suspecting after the 400th time he comes home smelling like rotten crotch and boner. So she thinks David might be seeing someone, but she didn't want to say it out loud because obviously then, you're in love and you have a broken heart because this isn't how you wanted it to turn out. And you still, if you love someone and it falls apart, you still are heartbroken, even if they're a dirty ass pig.
Right.
And the heartbreak is still heartbreak. You're this is sad for her. And then she ends up seeing his credit card, and it says like strip club, strip club, strip club, skank, strip club, strip club, strip club, stank. And she's like, what is this? All these strip club. And he says, oh my goodness, a guy on the football team, he's real sad about something, and I had to console him. And just tits are what he wanted to see, just tits. And so that's what I took him. And so Belinda believes him, tells her friend Stacy, and Stacy's like, oh my God. So
Belinda.
None of us really wanted to like give it reality at the point. So we just went, okay. Oh,
Belinda girl.
No. David then says, well, I don't want you looking at what I'm spending my money on, so we're going to split apart our money right now. And Belinda goes, oh, okay. That seems to be another clue that he's doing horrible things.
Yeah.
Belinda just goes with that, and we get to the summer of 1998. Belinda and David fall so much more apart and fighting all the time that they actually don't speak to each other for a full 6 weeks. That before Belinda finally breaks the silence and asks him, do you love me? And David says, I don't know.
I don't think I really do.
Oh my God. So Belinda is just heartbroken. She's very sad.
Yeah.
Because, you're realizing your husband doesn't love you. She's put 6 years into this.
Yeah.
She has a baby. This was someone she was so in love with in college. They were the golden couple. And so now she's just sad.
Right.
And just crushed. And what do? She just wanted to be a wife and a mom, and it all falls apart for her and just thinks, why didn't it work out for me? And she's a cute, wonderful, pretty, and a nice woman. It's like she didn't do anything wrong. So then randomly, David one day, like the next day, just comes up to her and just decides he loves her, and they just straight up pork. And then there's a whole talk about all this, how makeup sex is all good for couples. And I was like vomiting into my own lap.
I know.
Like, that's not really healthy either, to have this whiplash of him saying, I don't love you anymore, and then porking you.
No.
Like, something was off. Because of this porking, she gets pregnant again. And so Belinda's very, very happy because they're having a little girl. And David seems to be happy about the baby too and excited. So we get to August, the beginning of a new school year, 1998. And this is as they're going to the first staff meeting, and all the new hires have to stand up and say, hi, I'm Gladys, and I teach art. A woman named Heather stands up, and she says, hi, I'm Heather, and I teach English.
And it's good because English is the best.
Yeah. And now a quote from Mama's Family. Once Mama Harper said, have you ever met anyone named Heather who wasn't trash? And I think it's true. Because Heather was a straight up whore. She was what was the whole school called her a football coach groupie, because she porked all the football coaches all the time, married or not. She would go hang out at their happy hours and just sit straight up with their legs apart, no underwear, until they started paying her attention. And she would hang out at the practices. And this is a grown ass woman.
Yeah.
And so until she would just like hang out until the men started just porking her. And then David started wanting in on it and getting competitive because she was porking multiple of these coaches at the same time.
I'm gonna see if I can get her.
So and then he wanted to get her, and he wanted to get her to himself. So David starts porking her and then trying to get her all to himself. David wants just all of her attention. And they go to happy hours together with like staff. And then David and Heather start going off into corners by themselves. And then staff doesn't really know that David is married and has a kid on the way, and already a kid. I don't know how. And so they think David and Heather are actually a couple because that's how obvious they're being. Like, Gross. So then Heather asks David to her apartment after a happy hour, and they pork.
Uh-huh.
But then Heather finds out that David, she knew he was married, but she finds out that David has a pregnant wife and a kid.
Like almost going to have a baby.
Right. Very pregnant.
Yeah.
And so Heather kind of freaks out a bit, but she just keeps seeing him.
Right.
They actually see more of each other and become more emotionally involved. And David is buying her jewelry and presents and saying how much he loves her and they want to be together. And Heather is feeling like she's winning over Belinda because she's winning his emotion and she's getting all the presents and she's going to get him in the end. Well, have him because he's straight up shit.
Right.
If you want to have poop in your apartment, poop in it.
Right.
And keep him.
Right.
I mean, man. So by the end of 1988, David tells Belinda, and it's New Year's Eve. He says, you know what, honey? Even though it's New Year's Eve and it's, end of January, I'm going to go hunting tonight. I'm just going to go hunting out in the middle of nowhere. And Belinda says, what? And first of all, she says, I'm 8.5 months. Like, I'm almost due.
Right.
Why are you going hunting right now on a holiday?
Also, it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Aren't we going to a party? Even though I'm pregnant, I can't do anything. And he's like, no, I'm going to go hunting. Bye.
And so he literally packs up some guns in a bag and leaves. But where he's really going is to Heather's. And they say all weekend long they were watching football and fucking. Gross. Who wants to do that?
Ugh.
What kind of a freak are you? Heather is just so happy that she got this piece of poop to herself for a weekend. And David is just so happy that he fooled Belinda so well. He actually was bragging about it to her all weekend.
Yep.
What a dickhole.
He is a dickhole.
Now we get to January 11th, 1999. And again, it's a normal start to the day. Both Belinda and David are going to work at their schools. They drop their son off at daycare. Belinda is like ready to give birth any moment. The middle of the day, the daycare calls and the son is sick with a fever. So Belinda calls David and says, meet us at home. You're going to have to stay at home and watch the son. But Belinda says, I'm going to pick him up from daycare and bring him home. Why couldn't David pick up the kid and bring him to the home? I don't know.
I don't know either.
So Belinda said, I can't stay home with him because I have to save up my sick days so I can use them on my leave. Because God forbid you just get a pregnant leave, you know. So she has to run, like probably on her lunch break, pick up the kid, bring him home. David has to be there to watch the kid. So that's what she does. So she goes, picks him up, runs back home, gets back to school. So she gets back to school at like 1, and another teacher that was interviewed said, oh my God, honey, you made it back so fast. So she gets back to school. And then at 3 p.m., she leaves school to go home. And that's where David is said that at 5:30 then he takes the son, goes out to run errands, and they come back. And when he comes back with the son, he goes to the house and the front door is open, but all the glass is broken in it. And he walks into the house and everything's like tossed around.
Yeah.
So at this point, he takes the son to a neighbor's and he drops the son off and he's like, something's wrong with my house. I need you to watch my son. So he goes back into the house and he calls out for Belinda. He looks around the house. Everything is, torn apart and furniture knocked upside down. He races upstairs and he looks in the bedroom and drawers are pulled open and, things are askew. And then he looks into their bedroom closet and Belinda is laying in the bedroom closet with a phone in her hand and she has been shot in the head. I just wanted to punch through my screen.
No!
like punched through my screen. I knew what was going to happen, and I was still so livid. So angry. So then we get a real 911 call. So he picks up the phone, David does, and calls 911. And they say, 911, what's your emergency? And he goes, I just walked in. Alibi right away. First sentence is his I just walked in. You don't say that.
No.
You say what you need. But he gives an alibi in the first line. My wife, I believe she's been shot. Of course. What are you talking about? There's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
She's 8 months pregnant. And they say, sir, hold on. We'll come.
Actually, she called him honey. She was like, okay, honey, we'll be right there. She bought it hook, line, and sinker.
But then, you go back and he does all the steps of give my alibi, try to, the fake crying. So police come and they have a dog named Shaka, which was like a weird character from Land of the Lost, I think. I don't know.
Oh, I just kept thinking Chaka Khan.
Oh, it could have been. But Shaka is a violent dog that will grab onto your dick and balls and rip them off.
They needed Caesar.
Yeah.
So bad.
To go
for Shaka. Yeah.
Shaka is untrained, violent, like German Shepherd pit bull mix that the police were trying to get into the yard, and Shaka was biting onto their dick and balls. So the police literally were going to shoot Shaka.
Yeah. To get in.
Because they knew there was a dead person or someone needing help.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah.
And this dog is a complete
mess.
nutball. Yeah.
And so then David comes out and the dog immediately heels and sits and is quiet. And the police are like, oh, okay. The police go in and go right away to Belinda and then announce Belinda and her baby are dead at the scene.
I know.
And again, I was just like, this one got to me. Like,
I know.
Everyone we've done 250 some, and I just was so mad.
I know. It was really bad.
She was shot in the back of the head with a 12 gauge shotgun. I just couldn't. I just wanted to just scream. I wanted to find this man and just beat him with a baseball bat. The house is ransacked, but nothing was taken, even though jewelry, expensive watches, a phone, a big ass TV, electronics were all there for the taking.
Yeah.
Things you could, and then other expensive items that you could just put in your pocket. Nothing was taken.
Right.
The front door was open, but the glass was all broken into the home. Or no, into the rug. So it was like someone was already in the home breaking it out, but the door was already open into the home.
Yeah.
And it was broken already out into the rug. So it wasn't broken from outside in. It was broken from already the door being open inside the home and broken
and shattered
into inside the home.
As if it was open and it shattered right there.
Right. It was shattered as it was open in the home.
Right.
Yeah. Which someone said, why would a burglar break the window to open the door when the door's already open in the home? It wouldn't make sense. Well, they wouldn't.
No.
And so the police were already like, that's the stupid. This is already staged because there's all this jewelry just laying there, money laying there, this weird broken door. And then they're like, if this fucking psycho dog was here, no one would have gotten in without their dick and balls being bitten off. And there would be bloody on the ground. Like, no one would get in. No. Like, she's totally protected with this dog. And then David says, I should be on camera at all the stores I went to. And he was.
Again, so weird that he went purposely to places that went
cameras.
To the Home Depot where it had a camera.
But the police find out almost immediately about Heather. So they bring Heather in, and Heather said, we just had a casual relationship. I mean, there wasn't any sex. There wasn't any feelings. And the police were like, yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And then they hear about the next door neighbor, Mark, the troubled student. And they hear he robbed a house a few weeks ago.
God,
and
Mark, get it together.
Mark is a mess. And that he took a 12 gauge shotgun And so they bring Mark in to take a lie detector test, and the wiener fails 3 times.
Oh, so bad.
He is a torn up fool. And then Mark lies, and he's not where he said he was. He said he was at school. He wasn't even at school because the bitch never goes to school.
Come on, Mark. Everyone knows you're truant.
He has no alibi. But then they realized, why would Mark just go over and kill her all of a sudden? You know, I mean, it didn't make any sense for him to do it. And then they found out like where he was being a dick somewhere, and he was taken off the list right away. Because he actually liked her, and she was like the only person who like cared about him. So he was taken off the list. And then Heather had a roommate at her pork palace, and Heather's roommate came forward to the police to say, oh my God, no, Heather and David were in a very serious relationship. They always said they loved each other, and they porked all the time. She told the police. And the police were like, hell yes, I knew it. And so the police for sure think it's David, and that he shot her before he went on the errands as a fake alibi.
Also, if his kid had to come home because he was sick, why would he take his fucking kid to Home Depot or wherever he went anyway? Like,
no kidding.
You know what I mean?
He has a sick kid dragging around after he killed his mom in front of the kid. I mean, what a day for this kid.
No.
Now, they don't have enough evidence, really, at this time to arrest David.
They can't find the freaking gun.
The gun they can't find that, and they just are stalled. We get to spring 2001. Heather and David marry. They marry at a country wedding club, and like a country club. And they had a country wedding. No, at a country club. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people didn't go, like football people and stuff, because they all know David killed Belinda. Like everybody knows it.
This seems weird because she's dead.
Yeah. And then 3 years later, Heather and David are just living the life. They settle into their new life. They're all just celebrating that they got away with murder.
And they got the kid still, right? The boy, but the other one has died.
Yes. And then we get to November 2004. And the Lacey Peterson case is all over the news.
Here it is, everyone.
And the Lacey Peterson case is almost exactly like this one. And Scott Peterson ends up being guilty. And the prosecutors go, hell yeah, we can charge this dick. People believe, Scott Peterson was guilty. This is very similar.
Case.
Yeah. So
Scott was having an affair.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Wife was 8 months pregnant. Yep. Same thing.
So David's arrested, and then 3 years more go by the time they can get the fucker into court. So what they think happened is that when Belinda gets home from work, and she's like they show her doing laundry. And the pregnant fake belly she's wearing goes up to the chin. Did you notice that? Like the fake belly.
The reenactment.
The reenactment fake belly started at chin.
Her boobs and stomach were just one.
Yes. Well, when it went from the chin to like belly button, she was pregnant in the tits and neck.
Yeah.
So I've never heard of
carrying
someone pregnant,
very high,
very high in the tits and the neck
and the rib cage.
Yes. I've never heard of anyone carrying that high.
Well, Belinda did it.
So then, was it David came home? Or David was home, and then she came in or something. He was hiding, and then she walked in somewhere, and he was hiding with the gun and made her go up into the bedroom and go into the closet. And as she walked in the closet, he just shot her in the head, and she fell in the closet.
I'm sure so that he didn't have to look at her and see.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because he's fucking.
And then he puts a phone in her hand and stages the scene, and then tears apart the whole place, and then takes the son out. And no gun. And they say people saw his dumbass truck around the rice fields.
I didn't know there was rice.
I didn't either. And so they think he just maybe took apart the gun and got rid of piece by piece in like this rice field and hid it there, which would be super hard to find then. So the jury comes back right away, guilty, first-degree murder. And they show real him, and he goes, like puts his head back like, dang. Well, of course, you idiot.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long he got, but I'm sure
Well,
he's still in there.
There were 2 trials.
Oh, my God.
He got retried.
Yes.
And found guilty again.
Oh, he's an
and
asshole.
During the first trial, his wife, the affair wife, Heather, divorced him too.
Oh, psh.
So, I found some pictures of him, some like pictures from when they were younger, and then I also found some of him recently. So you can check those out on our group page, or we'll put them on. It's always the husband Instagram and stuff, so you can see David Temple and the lovely Belinda, and then his second wife Heather. They're all there. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, what an asswipe.
It says, okay, so here's kind of what happened. He was convicted 2 times. The first murder trial in 2007, he was guilty, but then a Texas top criminal court overturned it in 2016 because they said the prosecutors withheld evidence. I don't know what evidence that was. So then they tried him again. And
evidence that would have been for him to be more innocent?
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So 20 years afterwards, he got convicted again.
What a fuck stick.
Everything took 900 years in this trial too. Like, I don't know what the hell was going on, but
just why would he have to kill her? I don't understand. I mean, because they weren't like, I mean, there was no real money they were comfortable, but they weren't like poor. They weren't rich. He just would have, I mean, what? I mean, he probably would have had to pay child support, but it wouldn't have been super awful.
I think that's why it was so hard, because they couldn't really have the motive other than just the affair, right? You know, it wasn't like there wasn't insurance or anything weird like that. And so that's why he got to get remarried and live a life for 3 years thinking he got away with it before.
But to murder, like, your child and your wife.
Yes.
Just for a fool. I just.
Oh my God.
What?
This happened. Okay. This is just an article from April 27th, 2023.
Eek.
Okay. So it says David Temple was sentenced to life in prison for murdering his pregnant wife, Belinda, on Friday. So in 2023, in April.
Yeah.
He finally, the last trial happened and he got life. It was 24 years since the actual murder. 2 different juries convicted David Temple, and he got life in prison with the possibility of parole. He was convicted the first time in 2007 after years of an investigation, but the ruling was overturned and he was granted a retrial. During the retrial, he was found guilty a second time, but they couldn't agree on a punishment.
Well, what the hell?
Then a judge declared a mistrial in the sentencing phase because the jury couldn't reach a unanimous decision. So then 3 years later, a new jury had to determine that. Oh my God.
We have the slowest.
And it's clear.
At least if he was jailed the whole time. I mean, whatever.
Right? Oh my God.
Christ. Just say, keep him in jail. He's a fucker. We don't need him. What's he going to do? Work at Menards?
Their son was 3 when their mom was murdered. So, oh my God.
What?
Just
this poor boy.
Horrific. I hate him.
No, he sucks. And he looks like a huge pineapple head.
Yeah.
And a big, weird beach ball body.
Awful.
Oh. A fool. Well, all right.
All right,
That is
that's
our
it.
show.
Yeah. I think we're on our normal schedule next week. So hopefully we'll get some stuff to you, and we'll see if Sarah leaves the comfort of her home to videotape me jumping.
We'll see. I don't know. That shit's cold.
It is.
And you got to wear clothes this time.
Okay, fine. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.